Ben & Jerry's ice cream has apparently lost their parent company, Unilever, $2.6 billion, which sounds an awful lot like how Bud Light lost their parent company, Anheuser-Busch, $27 billion, and how Target also lost $13.8 billion as well. So what exactly is happening recently that has all these established companies' values tanking, meanwhile their competitors are doing seemingly fine? Simply put, the parasitic pandering that is wokeness is finally killing its hostess. Because just like a parasite feeding off your body, wokeness doesn't add anything of value to your product, it just slowly takes resources away from producing a good dessert. But if you let the wokeness grow until it's the biggest function of the item you sell, nobody wants to eat a product that's pure parasite. Because on the 4th of July of all days, the official Ben & Jerry's Twitter account decided that was a good time to claim the United States is on stolen land and we must return it. And it wasn't just their Twitter, as the official Ben & Jerry website had an entire article stating our country is on stolen indigenous land and how we must return Mount Rushmore to the Lakota people, as the Great Sioux Nation was forced to surrender its land, where the US desecrated and dynamited their mountain to honor their colonizers, 4 white men. So giving their land back would dismantle whites being superior and oppression, giving a link to a petition. Welcome to 2023, where a frozen sugar snack thinks getting a list of names is going to end oppression. But at least things are starting to turn around, as the Twitter replies call for a boycott of Ben & Jerry's, shaming them with the label woke, claiming that Ben & Jerry's will become the next Bud Light. And the Bud Light fiasco continues to get worse as they're now shutting down factories and laying off workers. Because in some places, Bud Light is now cheaper than water, and for the holiday, they basically had to make their beer free. This was only a matter of time before we figured this out. Although it appears on the internet that the outspoken woke folk are a large representation of the consumer base, in reality, most Americans are simply too busy trying to provide for their families than become recreationally offended about things like mountains with faces on it. Now, the average consumer will only react when it's constantly shoved down their faces, but when they do react, it actually destroys decades of brand loyalty. And not only do these companies lose the average person, they'll never be able to retain a consumer base ever again, as companies quickly learn that chasing the woke customer is impossible, as someone with that much free time will always be able to find something that you're doing wrong. Where Ben & Jerry's Twitter replies, we're also calling them out for milking the cows without consent, causing cow trauma, how the company owners also live on stolen land, and how their plants also reside on Abenaki tribal land. But hilariously, Newsweek tried to cover for them today, where they admit Ben & Jerry's headquarters could be considered on stolen land. But since the Abenaki were interacting with the European settlers, allying with the French colonizers over the English, they had to withdraw to Canada. So since the maps and dates are unclear, their headquarters could technically be seen on the historic Abenaki territory, but since it's not federally recognized, they can confidently report Ben & Jerry's is not on any modern-day tribal lands. So it must be nice to live in that amount of delusion. America is sitting on stolen land because we can find a point in time that someone else owned it, but this ice cream company is completely fine because we can simply ignore the fact that someone else owned it. Now my question is, why is the mainstream dinosaur media so fixated on protecting corporate wokeness? Because it's nothing new. Back in 2019, Money.com praised how real Ben & Jerry's wokeness was, how they spent $1.2 million on Facebook ads for criminal justice reform, where their website had a page of 7 ways we know systemic racism is real. And I can only imagine going online to shop for a peanut butter swirl, only to realize, no, that's cultural appropriation or some other nonsense. I'll just never understand why a frozen dessert website needs an activism tab to preach about Black History Month, rally young people to march against 2A, announce their departure from Israel in support of Palestine, while curiously remaining in Russia. But that doesn't matter, because they believe not only is democracy in their hands, but also the temperature of the planet. And in some sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, these woke companies are actually going to get exactly what they want. Because formerly, standing up for these extremely left values was considered stunning and brave. But slowly that went away as these megacorporations co-opted these movements to make them align with their political agenda. So now, when supporting wokeness is actually detrimental to profits, ironically, it is once again stunning and brave for a company to value virtue signaling higher than going bankrupt. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on what's really going on in the world, hopefully I've earned your subscription, then go check out my video when the far left liberals meet actual consequences.